Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So once again, I'm tapping the glass because Twitter users are treating fictional characters better than real life human beings. Now, how did this happen this time? Well, a lot of people are angry about the recent release of a horror game on Steam. That game is called The Coffin of Andy and Lele. Now, this is a horror game with themes such as murder, gore, cannibalism, satanic worship, and so on. However, Twitter users are largely not angry about those themes. However, they are very angry about an additional theme contained within this game, and that is an optional route at the end of the game where these two brother and sister characters end up together. And despite everything that Twitter is trying to say about that optional route, no, it is not glorifying that theme. It is showing it quite literally as the bad ending. It is the ultimate display of this toxic relationship between these two characters. It is not a good thing. They are not portraying it as a good thing. It is there to make you uncomfortable and unsettled, just like other themes in horror. And for some reason, Twitter users are missing that point entirely and are fixating on this one optional route. Now, a few days ago when I made this video covering those related tweets, little did I know that this would be easily the most controversial and hated video I've ever made. And when I say hated, I don't mean by my fans or anyone like that. I mean by Twitter. They went absolutely insane with this video. I think the backlash I've gotten on Twitter for this video is greater than any other I've made before. And that is saying something, okay? Now, what did I say in this video that is so controversial? Well, despite what Twitter is attempting to say that I said in this video, the basic point was I was covering tweets that were outraged about this game and harassing the developers and so on. And eventually in the video, I addressed the whole topic of the incest relationship between these characters. And I simply said that it's okay if you don't like that theme. Don't consume this game. I was just pointing out how it's a bit strange that people can see things like cannibalism and murder and think that's a normal theme of horror, but look at the situation of the optional route and not consider that horror elements as well. Because at the end of the day, it's not glorifying that stuff. It is there to disturb you as the viewer, much like other themes of horror. So to draw a line in the sand between cannibalism and this optional route, it's just strange. It doesn't change the fact you're allowed to dislike this sort of a trope in fictional content. You're allowed to. But I just pointed that out and people got extremely angry, okay? I have easily thousands of false allegations right now, death threats, people threatening to R-word me in real life, things like that. Very disturbing stuff, and it really just got out of control very quickly. In fact, we got to a point where there was multiple large-scale tweets accusing me of being a literal pedo, which is, Twitter in a nutshell. It got to the point where we actually got a community note on one of the related tweets that is basically saying this is unsubstantiated claims against Rev. There's nothing to show that these allegations are true. Now, how did these people on Twitter react when their slander was questioned? Well, they got very, very angry. So this is my response to a thread with 6,000 likes where a user goes, "Are you effing serious?" over a tweet calling me these slanderous things with a community note questioning it. They're angry that I am not a predator. Just stop and think about how insane that is. These people are so dangerous. They actually want people to be predators so they can justify hating them online. And when they find out that their slanderous claims about them are false, they have a breakdown on Twitter because they need something to justify all this attention they're funneling towards people like me. I mean, they could be literally doing anything else with their lives, but instead they have to sit here and slander people for clout on Twitter. It's ridiculous. And when they get called out for it and questioned about their delusions, they get very angry about it. But moving on, there was another set of call-out threads where users like this were doing like a Weenie Hut Jr. cancellation thread where they were bringing up my tweets from 2020 in an attempt to make me look bad. Now, before we look at some of these examples of these harmful tweets that I made a few years ago, let's see this user. This is the person who's making this call-out thread, okay? They retweeted this 1 hour before making the call out thread. And of course, then they unretweeted this once people pointed it out. But nonetheless, here's an example of one of the tweets that are being made to call me a criminal and other things. Look at this. Now, what do you see here? Please feel free to type out your comment and your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think this is a serious statement grounded in a real life set of actions? Or do you think this is a joke? Now, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to give you guys a secret tour of the Willy Wonka factory here. I'm going to show you how the chocolate's made. Let me just make this very clear for Twitter users and everyone listening. I don't have a sister. That's kind of the problem with this whole call out thread. I don't have a sister. You're not protecting anyone with this thread. And it really wouldn't matter anyways because these are jokes. And no matter how much Twitter wants to fantasize about this non-existent person being in my life, it doesn't make it true. And it doesn't change the fact that this is a joke. And anyone with half a brain taking an honest look at this tweet knows it's a joke. Now, I can already hear people responding, well, I didn't find it funny, Rev. Okay, that's your opinion. Comedy is subjective. It's perfectly fine to not like this or not find it funny, but it doesn't change the fact tweets like this are clear jokes. And you're either being disingenuous or you're genuinely delusional if you think it's not a joke. But moving on, another person would share another one of those 2020 tweets in a thread I made trying to attack me for this tweet right here. I'm not going to lie, I forgot about tweets like this. This is a banger, dude. This is... I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a funny tweet? I think nobody in the world would ever be offended by this back in 2020, but now apparently we're acting like something like this is actually harmful when it's very clearly just a joke. But nonetheless, this user had that screenshot and said, apparently holding someone accountable for being a weirdo is just canceling now. Maybe just stop being an effing lunatic and act like a normal functioning member of society. Is the Twitter clout worth it? Imagine if your effing family saw this, or your day job. So there's a lot to unpack here, but beginning with this whole canceling thing, I never said anyone's canceling me with that thread of my tweets. In order to cancel someone, you have to show stuff that's going to make their fans and viewers leave. None of my fans or viewers are surprised by my shit post from back in 2020, which was right on par with the kind of humor I had regularly on my Twitter account at the time. And that's not canceling anybody. Okay, you can have 10 million people on Twitter like your thread about me. It doesn't change anything. I don't consider that being canceled. I just consider that people crying for attention on Twitter. And this idea of not acting like a effing lunatic, I've seen some pretty lunatic-like behavior, and it's not me. It's people directing their crazy thoughts and threats towards me over this whole situation. But this idea of also Twitter clout. Dude, I hate Twitter. I use Twitter to farm ideas for videos, okay? Trying to get clout on Twitter has never been something I've ever wanted, okay? If I wanted clout on Twitter, you know what I would do? I would become an anti and tweet 50 times a day about how everything is problematic. That would get me clout if I wanted clout on Twitter. But I'm not interested in any of that. And this last part right here would serve as quite a funny little transition here, saying, imagine if your effing family saw this. Also talking about just my channel in general, my content. Well, unfortunately for this user, I shared this screenshot of a conversation I was having with my mother, who purchased my official Revdokia, link in the description, by the way. And she had the order. She sent me pictures when it came in saying how good it looked. My parents are fully aware of my content, and they support it. They buy every single piece of merch I release. They're very involved. And unfortunately, Twitter users just can't really handle that, and this person blocked me immediately when I shared this. But also for some people were like, in the replies, are like, oh, well, the lack of father figure. Just to clarify that, my father is too. Now, forgive him. He doesn't really know how to use emojis. He tries to use different ones. They never make any sense, but I still love him for it. Now, here's him replying to my Fumo, also link in the description as well. We've hit over 600 Rev Fumos sold already in this campaign. That's absolutely crazy. But nonetheless, besides just supporting my career, my dad is my best man in my upcoming wedding. Like, Twitter users are very, very shocked to see things like this, that I have a very good relationship with my family who's also aware of my content. But they can't really accept that, and look at their response to seeing a good relationship between me and my parents, this person says genuinely, effing kill yourself. And of course, they would block me shortly after this and delete the tweet to avoid getting reported. But that's their response to seeing all of that. But nonetheless, let's continue with some actual updates. That was my arc. Now let's focus on some more drama surrounding the coffin of Andy and Lele. So this tweet right here, this is an artist making this artwork right here showing the 98% positive rating on Steam and saying, consider the following. Pretty innocent tweet, right? Surely nothing could go bad. Well, they have well over 1,000 quotes attacking them, and we're going to look at some of those, but also, as always, a link to this will be in the description. Go give this art a like, consider giving the artist a follow, and support them as well because they don't deserve any of this harassment. Here's something that I saw a lot of people projecting about my video, which, again, they're saying here, psychological horror is supposed to be scary and actually show how wrong abuse is. This is just shock value that's now being romanticized, which is gross. Talking about the incest themes in this game. And people claim that I was saying that it's cool to romanticize these things in my video, when I said very clearly that it was not being romanticized or shown in a positive light. It was a bad ending showing how toxic and vile their relationship ended up by the end of this game. Now, people like this can't accept it. They haven't played the game. They don't know. They don't want to know, but they still tweet this. And it just reminds me, again, we're talking about horror. The existence of all of the themes in this game are there to do just what horror is supposed to do. And it's a genre of literature, film, and television that is meant to scare, startle, shock, and even repulse audiences. That's exactly what they were using all of these themes for, and if you think otherwise, you're just being disingenuous. But we're getting to a point, it's like this. You know, this is a meme screenshot we're seeing a lot recently, but it really feels this way. Like, people can't enjoy anything without having some weird set of morals that really only on Twitter people will have involving fictional content, what is okay, what is not okay. But nonetheless, here's another quote saying, here's a thread of actual horror games that use horror as a beautiful way to tell a story and not some cheap shock value. 38,000 likes on this tweet and growing, by the way. So let's see the recommendations. It must be really good, right? Silent Hill. Now, spoiler alert about the Silent Hill franchise, there is also incest in Silent Hill and also R-word themes in Silent Hill. So they are calling out the supposedly problematic coffin of Andy and Lele and promoting a game that has the exact themes they're calling out and then some. And they get almost 50,000 likes on this tweet. That is Twitter in a nutshell. People are completely uninformed. It almost seems like this is an elaborate shitpost at this point. I mean, really, like, how can they set people up to look this dumb on a viral scale like this? But nonetheless, this quote sums things up really well. So this user says, everyone who's mad about the game being liked by everyone outside of Twitter is just coping with the fact that no matter how many dogshit 50k liked tweets show up on this stupid website, the popular opinion here isn't going to represent what everyone everywhere else thinks. So they're saying no matter how many people make viral tweets dunking on this game that doesn't reflect actual gamers and people consuming this sort of content. And they give some examples of different quotes that are all ratioing the original poster, the original artist. All of these are ratioing the original poster. Let's see some of these, okay? This user says 98% positive because 2 people actually played it and rated it, while the other 9 players of the entire user base rated it high to own the libs. Yeah, me when I say things that never happened. Let me clarify for this user. 2 people actually played it and 9 people to own the libs. Read. Right here. Read. 2,352 user reviews. 98% positive. There's more than just 2 people. Out of those 2,352 people, I am sure the vast majority actually played the game because they wanted to. You think these are all just people trying to own the libs? It's ridiculous. This person saying, this developer is mega based, tells me all I need to know about the game and the reviewers. 20,000 likes on this tweet. What does it tell you? It tells you that people like the game. They like the fact that the developers are doubling down on this situation and not bending the knee to angry Twitter users who have no interest in playing their game in the first place. Yeah, that sounds pretty good to actual gamers. They like to hear things like that. Here's another one saying, coming from someone who fully played the game, it's one of the lamest and cliche psycho horror RPG maker games I've ever seen. 20,000 likes as well. Well, that's fair. You're allowed to dislike this game. No one's saying you can't, but that makes you fall into the 2%. And that's it. But it's amazing, just to the other person's point when they collected these screenshots, 20,000 likes on this and yet 98% positive rating on the game. All of these people in the 20,000, they don't actually care about this game. They have no interest in playing it, and they just support this tweet because it's dunking on people they don't like. And that's much like the own the libs mentality that these people are trying to say is what's driving all of these positive reviews. But nonetheless, that's going to do it for this video. It's kind of a long one, but there was a lot to talk about this situation. The way people are getting treated over this game and their opinion about fictional themes and subjects is, well, it's not surprising anymore with Twitter, but it's still very disturbing to see. And people are going to continue crying about this game and promoting it for free once again. And yeah, we've seen this time and time again, and this game's having a lot of success. And yes, I will be streaming this game this coming week on Twitch. Use the address above my head, twitch.tv/RevUWoo. Join up. We're going to have fun playing this game. And yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Please share all of your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.